I'm 19 Keys, and this is High Level Conversation. Library.
When you reach any pinnacle of success, within our environments and our culture and society, we start to get guilt, right? It's the success guilt, survivor's guilt. I made it here, you not there. Now you feel this responsibility to bring everybody with you, but you're not really empowered to do that yet. All it's going to do is bring you back down to where they are, right? And so understanding, I think it was Baba Kamani that called it not being selfish, but self-full, right? Knowing when to fill yourself up, right? To where you have enough and what percentage that you can give out to others. Because even in finances, it's going to be a percentage that you allocate towards everything.
Right.
And it's the same thing, and money is just a transference of energy. So as we talk about that, we're talking about the same way as we move as human beings, right? It's the amount of energy and percentage of energy that you can afford to give to everything, right?
Right.
So as I think about that, and we talk about a mathematical mind, right? How does one have that spirit of discernment to know, right, what percentage of energy? And is there a factor of importance when it comes to those three gates, right? Is the mouth more important, the eyes, or the ears more important when one is beginning to clean themselves up with the things that they digest?
Wow. I would say this, from my little study and time of being a student of the minister, he said this, and this kind of will help budget your time so you don't feel like you have to be so hands-on to help somebody. He said the best and only way to produce change in others is to lead by example.
Yes, sir.
He said nothing speaks louder than an example. So once we understand that concept, now we can say that I feel justified, not guilty anymore. I feel proper when I'm making an investment in my beingness, not so much all of my sayingness or my doingness for other people. My beingness for them is what. So whenever somebody sees something and they don't market no product that is supposed to produce change or transformation without a before and a after.
Yes, sir.
So when people can see and know your before and then know your after, the interested one is going to say, man, that's me. I'm before, but I want to be the him after.
Yes, sir.
Let me start studying and observing him. So your example begins to speak louder than any word that you could have. In the science of those three gates, there's a scripture in 3 John that says, above all things, God talking, brethren, I wish that you would prosper and be in good health, even as thy soul prospereth. So these are three categories. Prosperity, that's the acquisition of material wealth. Health, which is, people always say health is wealth. No, health is way more valuable than wealth.
Yes, sir.
In the Holy Quran, it says that when a person is all the way on their deathbed, sick, I don't care how rich they are. This is my interpretation, my translation of it.
Yes, sir.
They will give all the wealth they had in their possession and all the wealth of the world to be able to stay on the scene a few more days. So health trumps wealth. But the God is saying, above all things, brother, I wish you to be prosper, be in good health. But look, even as thy soul prosper. Even means in addition to, but when you look at the word even, it also means on the same level as. So now the prosperity, the success, the economics, the fulfillment physically in the material world, the health, it has to come up to the level of where the soul is.
Yes, sir.
So I wouldn't put an importance on the ear, the eye, or the mouth. I would say, think which one or what you're putting in any of the three that feeds the soul.
Yes, sir.
Then the health, and then build your wealth. And if we're doing that, and for the record to those in the viewing audience, soul food is not greens with no ham hock in the corner.
Yeah.
Soul food, not no cornbread and no pork chop. That's not soul food. That's slave food.
Yes, sir.
Soul is the essence of God deposited in man. You can't feed that with trichina worm infested meat. You have to feed it with truth, feed it with righteousness, feed it with that which is good. And when you do that, if that goes in the gates, that tonic it's going to promote healing. And so, you know, they're all interdependent. I wouldn't separate one from the other. I would say that all three are important. I'm leaning heavily to the eye because the eye is the only part of the brain that's exposed to the world.
Yes, sir.
But what we see, what we observe, what we listen to, and what we eat work in concert with one another to provide the mind with the raw material to build itself up and to build our life.
Yes, sir. So I got a question. I want to ask it like this so you can build on top of this. And it's simple. What is a thought?
Wow. Well, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said this. He just dropped it out there. He said, thoughts are real. They're unseen, but they're not unreal. So the scientists, when they look at the physicality of thought, and we kind of can tell that thoughts are substantive. They're fast moving. You can't see them, but we know that they're real because certain thoughts in a certain environment can change the way the air is in that environment.
Correct. So
you go in an environment where people thinking crazy and talking crazy, you'll say, what, man, I was there, but I don't know what they was talking about or what they was thinking about, but the air was so thick I could have cut it with a butter knife.
Yes, sir.
But you go into a home of a spiritual family that's kind and nice, and you'll say, it's just something about this. It's just so, the air seems so light. It's a healing. What happened? The thoughts renegotiated the molecular structure of the air that people are breathing in that environment. Good and clean thoughts make the air light and easy to breathe and have healing properties in them. But negative thoughts, slander and gossip speech ends up slowing down those molecules, dulling them, making it a thick, smoggy environment. So the scientists say thoughts are electrochemical energy, fast moving fluid with electrical charge in it. That's deep, because if the messenger, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, is telling us that what affects the stomach affects the mind and what affects the mind affects the stomach, what's the goal of digestion? It's to turn solid into liquid or to turn physical into chemical. And then once the food is broken down into chemical form, whatever the ingredients of the food in chemical form are, it integrates with the blood. It now begins to travel through the 60,000 miles of arteries through the human body. He said it takes 8 minutes and 20 seconds for one drop of blood to go from the top of your head to the crown, sole of your foot, back to the crown of your, so it circulates in 8 minutes and 20 seconds. So if I'm breaking down food into chemical and my thoughts are chemical, then when the chemicals of the food get to my brain, they integrate and mix with the chemicals of my thought. So even if I was thinking good thoughts, if I'm eating bad food, my good thoughts can be corrupted. So they're interdependent in that sense. So thoughts, we should see them not as little ghost words moving around in our head or in the atmosphere, but we should see them as electrochemical energy that have commands inside of them.
Yes, sir.
And know that whatever we're eating can even mess with what we're thinking.
1,000 milligrams, 1 ounce, 0.5 grams. I think it's too much here. I'm gonna be honest. I think we need to label this one Supermind Extreme. I think we need to have one where we kind of cut it. This is the disclaimer I got to do for this product. If you take this product, it's a supercharged product. It's not one of the ones to where, you just take and you chill mode. It's one of the ones you take and you super focused. Mental acuity is growing. You can feel like you remembering things from your childhood that you never knew before. Don't take this one if you don't want the supercharger. Right now, we only have the Supermind. We don't have the regular mind. So this is the one that got the lion's mane, the CBD, the black seed oil, MCT oil. This is the one that'll have you goddamn running all day long and just knocking out task after task after task after task. You feel me? But don't take this if you don't want to have a supercharged day. This is only from the supercharged days because I think we put too much in this one. So that's a disclaimer on this before you all go and get some of that Supermind.
I'm 19 Keys, and this is High Level Conversation. The library.